A sorority president and fraternity president hook up despite their organization's rivalry. When someone leaks photos to get them both removed from their positions, they must work together to find the culprit and clear their names. Greek Life Games, Chapter 1, The Rivalry. The spring semester at Westbridge University had barely begun, and already the tension between Kappa Delta Phi sorority and Sigma Alpha Epsilon fraternity was reaching its annual fever pitch. Greek Week was approaching. 7 days of competitions, philanthropic events, and carefully orchestrated chaos that determined bragging rights for the entire year. Madison and Tyler stood on the steps of the Kappa Delta Phi house, clipboard in hand, her honey blonde hair pulled back in a severe ponytail that meant business. As sorority president, she took her responsibilities seriously. Maybe too seriously, according to her sisters. But Madison hadn't worked her ass off for 3 years to let her final semester be anything less than perfect. "We need to crush them this year," she announced to the assembled sorority members gathered in the chapter room. "SAE has won Greek Week 3 years running, and frankly, I'm sick of seeing Tyler fucking Brennan's smug face on that trophy." A chorus of agreement rose from her sisters. Madison tried to ignore the flutter in her stomach at the mere mention of Tyler's name. The SAE president was infuriating, cocky, charming, and devastatingly attractive in that effortless way that made Madison want to simultaneously punch him and, well, she refused to complete that thought. Their rivalry had started freshman year when they both run for positions in the Interfraternity Council. He'd won, she'd lost. Since then, they've been locked in a constant battle for Greek life supremacy. Every philanthropy event, every fundraiser, every competition became a battlefield between them. What her sisters didn't know was that the rivalry had merely ended very differently last semester. Across campus, Tyler Brennan was having a similar conversation with his fraternity brothers, though with significantly more beer and significantly less organization. "Boys, this is our year," Tyler said, standing on the worn leather couch in the SAE common room. At 6'2", with dark hair and the kind of jawline that made girls do double takes, Tyler had always commanded attention. "For Pete, we're going to make history." "What about Kappa Delta?" his vice president, Jake, called out. Madison Taylor's been training her girls like they're preparing for war. Tyler's expression shifted almost imperceptibly at Madison's name. "Let her prepare. We've got experience, talent, and, let's be honest, way better strategy." The room erupted in cheers, but Tyler's mind was elsewhere, traveling back to that night 3 months ago at the winter formal. The night everything had changed, the night that he and Madison had. He shook his head, dismissing the memory. That was a mistake, a one-time lapse in judgment, fueled by champagne and the weird romantic atmosphere of the formal. It didn't mean anything. At least, that's what he kept telling himself. Chapter 2. Game On Greek Week kicked off with the traditional philanthropy fair, where each organization showcased their charitable work. Madison moved through the crowd with practiced grace, smiling at administrators, chatting with alumni donors, and carefully avoiding the SAE booth where she could feel Tyler's eyes following her. She was talking to Dean Morrison about the sorority's literacy program when she felt a presence behind her. Dean Morrison, always a pleasure. Tyler's smooth voice sent an unwanted shiver down Madison's spine. "I was just telling Madison earlier how impressed I am with Kappa Delta's fundraising this year. Almost as much as SAE raised, which is quite an accomplishment." Madison turned slowly, fixing him with her iciest stare. "Actually, we raised 15% more than SAE, but math was never your strong suit, was it, Tyler?" The dean chuckled awkwardly and excused himself, leaving them alone in the crowded tent. Tyler stepped closer, close enough that Madison could smell his cologne, the same scent that had been on her sheets after the winter formal. "You look good, Mads," he said quietly, using the nickname only he called her. "Don't," she whispered harshly. "We agreed. It didn't happen." "Right." Tyler's jaw tightened. "It didn't happen. The best night of my entire senior year didn't happen." Before Madison could respond, her vice president, Sienna, peered with an urgent question about the booth setup. When Madison looked back, Tyler had vanished into the crowd. The week progressed with various competitions: volleyball, tug-of-war, a dance marathon, trivia contests. SAE and Kappa Delta traded victories, the margin between them razor thin. The tension built with each event, but beneath the public rivalry, something else was building too. Madison found herself looking for Tyler in every crowd. Their eyes would meet across the gymnasium or the quad, holding contact for a beat too long before one of them looked away. The air between them crackled with unresolved tension. It all came to a head Thursday night at the Greek Week social at Gatsby's, the off-campus bar that served as neutral territory for Greek life. Madison was dancing with her sisters, trying to blow off steam before the final events, when she felt hands on her waist. She spun, ready to politely decline whoever was making a move, and found herself face to face with Tyler. "We need to talk," he said directly into her ear, his breath warm against her skin. "There's nothing to talk about," she replied, but she didn't move away from him. Liar. His hands tightened on her waist. "You've been avoiding me all week." "We're competitors, Tyler. We're supposed to avoid each other. Is that what we are? Competitors?" His green eyes searched hers, and Madison felt her carefully constructed walls beginning to crack. The music shifted to something slower, more sensual. Bodies pressed closer around them. Madison knew she should walk away, should maintain the distance they'd agreed upon. Instead, she found herself swaying closer to him. "This is a bad idea," she breathed. "The worst," he agreed, but his thumb was tracing circles on her hip through the thin fabric of her dress. They danced like that for 3 songs, the world narrowing to just the two of them. Madison's resolve was crumbling with each passing second. When Tyler's lips brushed against her temple, she made a decision. "My house is empty tonight," she whispered. "Everyone's staying at the social." Tyler pulled back to look at her, searching for certainty in her expression. "Are you sure?" "No, but come anyway." They left separately, meeting 15 minutes later at the Kappa Delta house. The moment the door closed behind them, they came together like magnets, all pretense of rivalry forgotten. Tyler backed her against the wall, his mouth finding hers with a hunger that had been building for months. Madison's fingers tangled in his hair, pulling him closer, needing more. "We shouldn't be doing this," she gasped between kisses. "Probably not," Tyler agreed, his lips moving to her neck, finding that spot that made her knees weak. "Everyone will hate us." "I don't care." He pulled back to look at her, his expression serious despite their breathlessness. "I haven't been able to stop thinking about you since December, Mads. I don't give a damn about the rivalry or Greek Week or any of it. I just want you." Something in Madison's chest cracked open at his words. She'd spent months telling herself that what happened at the winter formal was a meaningless hookup, that Tyler Brennan was just her arrogant rival and nothing more. But standing here now, seeing the raw honesty in his eyes, she couldn't lie to herself anymore. "I want you too," she admitted. This time when they kissed, it was slower, deeper, laden with all the things they hadn't said. Tyler lifted her easily, and Madison wrapped her legs around his waist as he carried her upstairs to her room. They took their time, mapping each other's bodies with hands and mouths, making up for months of forced distance. When they finally came together, it felt like something clicking into place, like this was where they were always meant to be. I love making these videos for you. If you liked this story, then please like, subscribe to my channel, and switch on the notifications for more entertaining stories. Please also leave a comment for any story suggestions. Afterward, they lay tangled in Madison's sheets, her head on his chest, his fingers trailing lazily up and down her spine. "What are we going to do?" Madison asked quietly. "About everything." Tyler was silent for a moment. "I don't know, but I know I don't want to go back to pretending I can't stand you. Our organizations will never understand. Maybe they don't have to. Not yet." He tilted her chin up to look at him. "We could keep this between us, just for a little while, until we figure out how to tell everyone." Madison knew it was a risk. Secrets had a way of coming out, especially in the fishbowl environment of Greek life. But the alternative, walking away from whatever this was between them, felt impossible. Okay, she agreed, just for a little while. They sealed the agreement with another kiss, neither of them noticing the faint glow of a phone camera through the gap in the curtains. Chapter 3. Exposed. The email hit everyone's inbox Friday morning at 7 a.m., 2 hours before the final Greek Week event. Madison woke to her phone exploding with notifications. Still half asleep, she reached for it, squinting at the screen. Her blood turned to ice. The email had been sent from an anonymous account to every member of Greek life. The subject line read, "Your president's dirty little secret." With shaking hands, Madison opened it. There were 3 photos attached, clearly taken through her bedroom window the night before. They left no doubt about what had happened between her and Tyler. The accompanying message was brief. While they pretend to compete against each other, your presidents are hooking up behind your backs. Is this the kind of leadership you want representing your organizations? Madison felt like she was going to be sick. She barely made it to her bathroom before her stomach rebelled. When the wave of nausea passed, she sat on the cold tile floor, her phone still buzzing incessantly with calls and texts. This couldn't be happening. This couldn't be real. A soft knock on her door made her freeze. "Mads, you in there?" It was Sienna. "Give me a minute," Madison called back, her voice hoarse. "We need to talk, like right now. Emergency chapter meeting in 10 minutes. Madison forced herself to stand, to splash water on her face, to look at herself in the mirror. The woman staring back at her looked nothing like the confident sorority president who'd been so in control just yesterday. She looked terrified. The emergency chapter meeting was harsh. 50 upset, confused, and disappointed faces stared at Madison as she tried to explain herself. "Is it true?" Sienna asked, her voice flat. "Have you been sleeping with Tyler Brennan?" Madison wanted to lie. Every instinct screamed at her to deny it, to claim the photos were fake, to protect herself. But she couldn't. She was done lying. "Yes," she said simply. "It's true." The room erupted. Madison stood at the front, absorbing the hurt and anger from her sisters, women she'd led, supported, and grown with over 4 years. "How could you?" someone shouted from the back. "After everything SAE has done? After all our work?" "It just happened," Madison started. "Bullshit." Sienna stood up, her eyes blazing. "Things like this don't just happen, Madison. You made a choice, multiple choices, apparently. While we were working our asses off to beat SAE, you were in bed with their president. My relationship with Tyler has nothing to do with Greek Week or the rivalry between our organizations," Madison said, trying to keep her voice steady. "How can you even say that?" another sister chimed in. "Everything we do is about our organizations. You're supposed to lead us, to put us first. Instead, you've been hooking up with the enemy and making us all look like fools." The meeting went downhill from there. By the end, a vote had been called for Madison's immediate removal as president. The result was devastating but unsurprising, 42-8 in favor of removal. Madison cleaned out her president's office in a daze, barely registering Sienna's cold goodbye or the whispers that followed her out of the house. Tyler's experience was remarkably similar. His fraternity brothers felt betrayed, upset that he'd been fraternizing with the enemy while expecting their loyalty and hard work. His removal vote was even more lopsided, 56-4. They both skipped the final Greek Week event, unable to face the judgment and whispers. Instead, Madison sat alone in her room, replaying the morning over and over, trying to understand how everything had fallen apart so quickly. Her phone rang. Tyler's name flashed on the screen. "Hey," she answered, her voice small. "Hey." He sounded as wrecked as she felt. "I'm so sorry, Mads. It's not your fault." "Isn't it? I pushed for us to be together. I should have been more careful. Should have. Should have what? Not cared about me?" Madison felt tears threatening. "Because that's the only way we could have avoided this." Tyler was quiet for a moment. Do you regret it? Us? Did she? Madison thought about the night before, about finally being honest about her feelings, about the way it felt to be in Tyler's arms. Despite everything, the humiliation, the betrayal, the loss of her position, she couldn't make herself regret it. No, she said firmly. I don't regret us. I regret how it came out, and I hate that someone violated our privacy like that, but I don't regret you. She could hear the relief in Tyler's exhale. Good, because I have a plan. What kind of plan? Someone did this to us deliberately. Someone took those photos, sent that email, and destroyed both our reputations. I want to find out who. Madison sat up straighter. Why? What difference does it make now? Because whoever did this didn't just hurt us. They hurt both our organizations. They've turned this whole thing into a scandal that's going to define Greek life at Westbridge for years. If we can find out who's responsible and why they did it, maybe we can start to make this right. Tyler, we both just got removed from our positions. Nobody wants to hear from us right now. Then they don't have to. We investigate quietly, just the two of us. And when we figure out who did this, we expose them. It was crazy. It was probably futile, but it was something, a way to take back some control over a situation that had spiraled completely out of their hands. Okay? Madison agreed. Let's do it. Chapter 4. The Investigation. They met that night at a coffee shop off campus, far from the usual Greek life hangouts. Tyler already had a notebook full of theories when Madison arrived. I've been thinking about who would benefit most from both of us being removed, he said without preamble. We need to look at who becomes president of our respective organizations now. Madison pulled out her own notes. Sienna becomes Kappa Delta president. She's been VP for a year, always ambitious, but I can't see her doing something this vindictive. We've been friends since freshman year. People change when power's involved, Tyler said darkly. My VP, Jake, becomes SAE president. He's wanted the position for a while, made some comments about my leadership style being too soft. They spent 2 hours going through possible suspects, creating a list of people who might have motive and opportunity. The list was depressingly long. Greek life was full of people with petty rivalries, grudges, and ambitions. As they worked, Madison found herself watching Tyler. The way he bit his lip when he was concentrating. The way his eyes lit up when he made a connection. Despite everything, despite the disaster their relationship had caused, she didn't regret letting herself care about him. What? Tyler looked up, catching her staring. Nothing. I just thank you for not giving up. He reached across the table, taking her hand. I told you, Mads, I don't care about the position or the rivalry. I care about you. We're going to figure this out. Over the next few days, they conducted their investigation carefully. Tyler reached out to friends in other fraternities, asking subtle questions about who might have been near the Kappa Delta house that night. Madison went through every photo and video posted from the social, looking for anyone who'd left around the same time they had. The break came from an unexpected source. Madison's little sister in the sorority, a sophomore named Becca, reached out via text. Need to talk. It's about the photos. Meet me at the library, 3rd floor, back corner. Come alone. Madison's heart raced as she made her way to the library. She texted Tyler where she was going, just in case. Then found Becca hiding between the stacks, looking nervous. What is it? Madison asked gently. Becca bit her lip. I wasn't sure if I should say anything, but after seeing how they treated you at the meeting, it's not right, Mads. You don't deserve this. What do you know, Becca? The night of the social, I came back to the house early. I wasn't feeling well. I saw someone in our yard with a camera, taking pictures through your window. I thought maybe they were just drunk or confused, so I went out to tell them to leave. Becca's hands were shaking. It was Marcus Chen. Madison's blood ran cold. Marcus was SAE's treasurer, Tyler's friend since freshman year. Are you sure? Positive. I've seen him at enough Greek life events. He saw me see him and he took off running. I didn't think much of it at the time. I didn't even know you and Tyler were in there. But when those photos came out, Becca looked miserable. I should have said something sooner. I'm so sorry. Madison hugged her little sister. You're saying something now. That's what matters. When Madison told Tyler about Marcus, his expression shifted from shock to fury to confusion in rapid succession. Marcus? That doesn't make any sense. He's one of my best friends. Why would he sabotage me? I don't know, but we need to find out. They confronted Marcus that evening at his apartment. He looked shocked when he opened the door to find them both standing there, then resigned. You figured it out, he said flatly. Why? Tyler's voice was rough with hurt. I trusted you, man. We've been brothers for 4 years. What could possibly make you do this? Marcus let them in, and the whole story came spilling out. He'd been in love with his girlfriend, a Kappa Delta member, since sophomore year. They'd been planning a future together, but she dumped him 2 weeks before the photos, saying she wanted to focus on her sorority commitments during Greek week. She said Greek life was more important than us. Marcus explained bitterly that the rivalry was too serious to be distracted by a relationship. It was all bullshit. The rivalry, the competitions, all of it. And you two were the face of that bullshit. The presidents who took it all so seriously that you turned it into this toxic thing that destroys real relationships. So you decided to destroy us instead? Madison's voice was cold. I thought if everyone saw that you two were together, that the whole rivalry was a joke. Maybe people would finally understand how stupid it all is. Maybe my girlfriend would see it too. Marcus laughed bitterly. Obviously, it didn't work out that way. Tyler looked disgusted. You ruined our reputations, got us both removed from positions we earned, and turned us into pariahs in Greek life because you were bitter about a breakup. When you put it like that, it sounds pretty petty, Marcus admitted. But yeah, that's exactly what I did. And honestly, I'm not that sorry. Maybe now people will see how fucked up this whole Greek life rivalry culture is. Madison and Tyler exchanged glances. They had their culprit, but confronting him hadn't brought the satisfaction Madison expected, because as much as she hated to admit it, Marcus had a point. The rivalry had become toxic. It had nearly prevented her and Tyler from being together, and it had created an environment where their relationship was seen as betrayal rather than two people caring about each other. What are you going to do? Marcus asked. Turn me in? Get me removed too? Tyler was quiet for a long moment. I should. What you did was a massive violation of privacy and trust. But, he looked at Madison. I don't know if it solves anything. You were right about one thing. The rivalry has gotten out of hand. Maybe it's time someone did something about that. Chapter 5, Making It Right. Armed with the truth, Madison and Tyler called for an emergency inter-Greek council meeting. Every organization's leadership was required to attend. When they walked into the room together, the whispers started immediately. Tyler stepped forward first. Thank you all for coming. I know most of you don't want to hear from us right now, but we have something important to say. Madison took over. We know who took those photos and leaked them to everyone. But before we reveal who it was, we need to talk about why it happened. They spent the next hour laying it all out. The toxic nature of the rivalry, the way competition had turned into genuine animosity, the way Greek life at Westbridge had become more about beating each other than supporting each other or serving the community. Our relationship started as something we were ashamed of because we'd been conditioned to see each other as enemies, Tyler explained. How messed up is that? That two people caring about each other is seen as a betrayal. The person who leaked those photos was hurt by this culture, Madison continued. They saw our secret relationship as proof that the whole rivalry was a sham. And you know what? They weren't entirely wrong. She and Tyler then revealed Marcus's identity and role, along with the full context of his motivations. The room erupted in shocked murmurs. Sienna stood up. So what are you suggesting? That we just, stop competing? Eliminate Greek Week? The rivalry between Kappa Delta and SAE goes back decades. No, Madison said. We're not suggesting you end Greek Week or even the competition. Healthy competition can be fun and motivating, but it should never come at the cost of friendships, relationships, or basic human decency. We're suggesting you change the culture. Make it about bringing out the best in each other, not tearing each other down. Jake, Tyler's former VP, spoke up. That's easy for you two to say, now that you've got nothing to lose. You already lost your positions. You're right, Tyler acknowledged. We did lose our positions. We lost a lot, actually. But we also gained something, perspective, and each other. He reached for Madison's hand. I'm not sorry about what happened between us. I'm only sorry that we felt like we had to hide it, and that someone was hurt enough by this toxic culture to invade our privacy. The meeting continued late into the night. There were arguments, accusations, and more than a few heated exchanges. But slowly, gradually, a shift began to occur. People started sharing their own stories. Relationships strained by the rivalry, friendships complicated by Greek affiliation, stress and anxiety over maintaining the perfect competitive image. By the end, the council had voted to implement several changes: mandatory inter-Greek collaboration on philanthropic events, a revised code of conduct emphasizing mutual respect over competition, and a formal apology to both Madison and Tyler for the way their private relationship had been made into a public scandal. They also voted to hold new elections for both SAE and Kappa Delta presidencies, with Madison and Tyler both eligible to run again if they chose. Marcus faced his own consequences. While they didn't press charges, he was removed from his position as treasurer and placed on probation by the university for the privacy violation. His ex-girlfriend, ironically, reached out to him after learning what he'd done, not to reconcile, but to tell him how disappointed she was in his actions. As for Madison and Tyler, they declined to run in the new elections. Sienna became Kappa Delta's president officially, and Jake took over SAE. Both organizations elected to compete in a rescheduled Greek Week with the new collaborative spirit the council had voted for. Instead of running for office again, Madison and Tyler focused on something more important: each other. Epilogue. Starting over. 3 months later, Madison sat in the spring sunshine on the quad, Tyler's head in her lap as she studied for finals. Around them, Greek life continued as it always had, with energy, drama, and enthusiasm. But something fundamental had shifted. She watched as members of SAE and Kappa Delta worked together at a fundraising booth, laughing and joking without the undercurrent of hostility that would have been there last semester. The new Greek Week had been, by all accounts, a massive success. Competitive, but supportive. Exciting, but not toxic. "What are you thinking about?" Tyler asked, squinting up at her. "Just how different everything is now," Madison said. "How different we are. Do you miss it, being president?" Madison considered the question honestly. "Sometimes, but not enough to trade what we have now." "What about you?" Tyler sat up, turning to face her fully. "Mads, I was miserable before you. I didn't know I was miserable. I thought I was killing it, being the big man on campus, winning all the competitions. But it was all surface level. It didn't mean anything." He took her hands. "You mean something. This means something." "God, you're corny," Madison said, but her eyes were bright with unshed tears. "You love it." "I really do." She kissed him softly. "I love you." It was the first time either of them had said it out loud. Tyler's face broke into the kind of genuine, unguarded smile that Madison had only started seeing in recent months. "I love you too," he said, "even though you're way too competitive and you always steal my fries. I don't steal them. You offer them, then act surprised when I eat them all. See? Competitive." They were still bickering playfully when Sienna and Jake approached together, a sight that would have been unthinkable just a few months ago. "You two want to grab dinner?" Sienna asked. "We're trying out that new Thai place downtown." Madison looked at Tyler, who shrugged. "Sure, why not? As the four of them walked toward downtown, arguing good-naturedly about the best Thai dishes and making plans for the summer, Madison felt a sense of contentment she hadn't experienced in years. She'd lost her position, her reputation had taken a hit, and the path she'd so carefully planned had been completely derailed. But she'd gained something infinitely more valuable: the freedom to be herself, a healthier community, and a relationship built on honesty rather than hidden in shadows. Tyler squeezed her hand, and Madison squeezed back. Sometimes the best endings came from the most unexpected beginnings. Sometimes losing everything meant you finally had room to find what actually mattered. And sometimes the person you thought was your rival turned out to be exactly what you needed all along. The scandal that had once threatened to destroy them had instead transformed them, and in the process had helped transform an entire campus culture from toxic competition to supportive community. As they walked into the restaurant together, Madison realized she wouldn't change a single thing. The betrayal, the exposure, the public humiliation, it had all been worth it to get to this moment. Sometimes love meant breaking the rules. Sometimes it meant facing judgment and consequences. But in the end, when you found the right person, when you found something real in a world full of artificial rivalries and surface-level connections, it was worth fighting for. And Madison and Tyler had fought for each other, for their relationship, and for a better version of the world they'd been living in. They'd won something more valuable than any Greek Week trophy. They'd won each other, honestly and completely. That was a victory worth celebrating. The end. I love making these videos for you. If you liked this story, then please like, subscribe to my channel, and switch on the notifications for more entertaining stories. Please also leave a comment for any story suggestions.